Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Journeymen Podcast. This is our second episode. My name is Conor O'Brien, and I'm here with Martin Tetch and Lane Gibson. So we are here today to talk about love, to discuss love. Last time we were talking about truth, and we were introducing ourselves and how we got together. And so got together to embark on this project. And now we're here to talk about love. So there's many aspects to love. The birds and the bees, they have love. Love is creation. The birds and the bees, they create in order to have the next generation. The universe is love. It is permeating everything that we see around us. It's in song. So many songs say love is the answer. Some songs say all you need is love. Many poems and poets that speak about love. For example, Rumi shared lots of wisdom through poems of love. So love is in everything and in everything around us. Love is a journey. There's intimate love, there's family love, there's interpersonal love. There's possessive love and there's unconditional love. We can be without love and we can be with love. And the effects of that are vastly different. But everything is love. Lynn, what do you think? What's your take on love and in the world, and what's your take on love? Right over to you, my friend.
Thanks, Connor. Thanks for introducing us and our topic, which we tuned in as we always do to what topic wanted us to speak to it in this episode, and we got that it was the topic of love. So as I've been reflecting on that, a few things arose in me. The first thing I feel to speak to is about our expression in life. Our work, we might call it, can be love in action, I would say, and perhaps for many people in the modern culture, work isn't experienced in that way, and it's more a role that people are taking on to kind of survive and earn money. But I'd say in its deepest form, work is an expression of our love for the world in action. And so it had me reflecting on how valuable it is to be able to really deeply know ourselves and tune into what's really important to us, to really get to know ourselves, to discover what our essence is, and gain access to what's most important to us, what we truly love, what our purpose in life is, so that our lives can become more and more an expression of love, which for me, that's an expression, becomes love for ourselves to do that, and also becomes a way of expressing deep love for the world. So yeah, that's the first thing that arose for me when I tuned into what I felt to share about love. And I was also very present to how we are constrained by language as, I'd say, one of the first forms of conditioning that we experience. Language generates the concepts, the lens through which we relate to reality, and probably most of the viewers, for those of us who've been raised in cultures rooted in modern European languages, then there's a certain form of conditioning within that. Amongst the three of us, perhaps that's more so for myself and Martin. I don't know, perhaps Martin might share if there were any regional dialects that were available to him in his formative years. I know that the Connor's native tongue has been very present in his life, so I from what I know of it, that would have had probably a broader expression within it, but certainly within English, the language that I first learned how to speak and kind of grew up developmentally in, I'd say love has quite a restricted, limited definition, really. So that impacts on the access we have, I'd say, to kind of the depth of what love means. When I contrast that with a language like Sanskrit, there are many words for love. I just pulled up a few just before. So Sanskrit contains the word anuraga, which is a deep and abiding attachment or affection that persists over time. It also has the word pranaya. Pranaya refers to an intense and complete form of love or affection that leads the lover and the beloved in their progressive journey. Or sneha, which is all about making relationships smooth, emphasizing the idea of a loving, nurturing bond that promotes warmth and smoothness in interactions. Or priti, which is a sense of satisfaction or delight derived from a deep connection or love. And then there's prema, a profound and selfless form of love that fills the heart and satisfies the soul. It's often associated with a spiritual or divine love that transcends the mundane. And also vailabhya, the quality of being beloved or dear, indicating a reciprocal and cherished relationship. So that just a little kind of flavor there of, I think, the sort of depth and breadth that the word love actually represents. And so just interesting to note how the cultural context and the language context that we've been brought up in does influence what's available to us in kind of coming to understand a word. But within the context of love as it's utilized and expressed and experienced within the culture that I grew up in, I feel there's a big distinction between what I would refer to as love and the experience that many people have in relationships, which we would often term as love, but I would say has more the quality of attachment to it. And one perhaps comes from the experience of love is an experience of wholeness. First of all, the love of self, the recognition of our own love, and then the ability to give love to the world. And so from that place, the loving of another human being becomes the appreciation of that person, the giving to that person, the learning to appreciate what they appreciate and are drawn to in life. and then there's attachment, which comes from perhaps a more wounded or egoic aspect of ourselves, where perhaps we feel less than whole and are seeking unconsciously for completion through association with another person. And then this generates a whole other set of dynamics which tend over time to become harmful to the people involved, and limiting at best, I'd say, limiting of the full expression of each of those individuals' true nature. So that I feel is an important subject to mention in the context of love and people's experience of love within everyday life. So that also for me points to the distinction between love, what can often be represented or spoken to as love in modern culture, which is more the sort of fleeting emotion, as opposed to that deeper, the deeper origin of love within ourselves, love as our essence, love as our kind of innate quality, which is also, as Connor spoke to so beautifully at the start of this episode, is also the love that resides within life, within the universe, within the I might say the divine, that place where all of life originates, that we are a part of, as is every other expression of life that's around us. So love for me has a great depth to it if we connect to love as an expression of our source. And also kind of just follows on from what Connor shared earlier. As I was feeling into love and the expression of love in life and love around us, my attention went to this beautiful planet home, Earth, that we live upon, and how actually and this is probably goes unnoticed perhaps by the majority of society, but the love of Mother Earth is arguably the greatest love that any of us ever experience in our lives. You know, the very air that we breathe is of her. The food, the nourishment that allowed us to grow, that keeps us alive, comes from the earth. Everything materially in our existence, each and every one of us, every single aspect of that has come from the earth. So there's a deep and benevolent love that we constantly experience from the earth, and it really is true to say that, you know, she is our mother, and she loves us in that way. And for me, when I tune into that love, the love that I receive from Mother Earth, there's that calls for a reciprocity and an appreciation and a deep love and respect for her, and a devotion to her and to life, and giving back for everything that I personally receive in in the receiving of that love from the earth that gives me life. So yeah, that for me is another profound love that is constantly present in our lives, even if perhaps in modern human culture we've tended to become forgetful of that. So with that, I will hand over to my dear friend Martin. I'd love to hear your reflections on the subject of love.
Thanks, Lane. That was an interesting broad throw about the topic. I found it very interesting. I will use a few of the threads you open as connect to that and speak from what's coming up. So first, interesting because you asked it, and I agree. So there's language, and what's the word love, or in German would be Liebe, means. And it can mean a lot of different things for a lot of different people, but usually there's a general accepted meaning, which not necessarily has to be true, but there's an accepted meaning at least in one culture. For instance, I read years ago what Liebe means in German, and that there's an idea about Liebe, and first of all, it usually only means the love between men and women. So it's much more, as you just explored, Lane, but when you go into Germany, you talk about Liebe to Germans, and assume it's the same for your cultures too. Primarily, they think about, that's meaning love between men and women, the romantic love. And actually, there was apparently, I don't know, research or something. There's a book from Goethe, and it's called Die Leiden des jungen Werther. So there's a book it's like written in the form of letters. A young man sends to the woman he adores, and he wants to get close to her, but she doesn't want him, and he's like, today we would say simping a lot, he wants to, and writes, and he suffers a lot. And the whole book, Goethe was quite good with women, so to speak. He had quite a success in what we would call romantic love. But in this research, they found out, the idea about this kind of romantic love where you have to suffer for love comes from that book, at least in Germany. So they misunderstood it. He just wrote it as a warning to not get attached, to not go like, okay, if she's not there, I'm dying and so love is pain, so to speak. But that became actually the prevalent idea of what romantic love means in German. Funny, I think so, how that happens. But to me, that speaks to it helps to be aware that what you think love means might not be true, and it's not necessarily because it's not the truth. There is a meaning attached to it, which can be in a totally different culture. It could be a totally different meaning, So, and love certainly to me, it's not pain. So what I always I experimented a lot, and like Lane, I agree. There's a lot of what one could say different flavors or frequency of love. So love to the planet, love to your mother, love to your friends, like love to you guys. That's or love to a woman, sexual love, whatever. Love to my cat. That's all I would agree, say, oh, that's all love. But none of it itself is love at the same time. So it's like, and also I can't get every flavor of that kind of love from just one person, for instance. So I could just not get the same kind of love from me personally feeling, from you guys that I could get from my cat or from my girlfriend. And not from my girlfriend, I also could not get all the different kind of flavors of love then there would be. So that's just a food for thought. And now I spoke a lot about getting. You spoke about it, Lane, attachment, and Connor also spoke about Rumi and all the poets that speak about love. Funny enough, not all of them speak about romantic love. That's very interesting, So they point at it, and I think that's what best you can do. You can point at it, but it's not it. And what for me the matter, as I tuned into love, and as we actually did. As we came up with this topic, which the viewers, sorry you were not part of it, but we tuned in and a lot of things came up. And to me, there was this relation to truth. And I don't mean the one truth, that's a topic for another day. But to me, there's a saying, you spoke a bit about it, Lane, the spiritual kind or divine kind of love. And it's usually saying, that's wholeness, oneness, that's love in this kind of sense. And from that kind of sense, the absence of that is not hate. So that's not the opposite of love. The opposite is not the absence. The opposite, they say, is indifference, so to speak, like just not caring. And to me, that's a good pointer for what love in general to me means, and that why it is connected to truth. To me, it's to be able to be in the present moment and accept and really accept, okay, that is what is true right now. That's what is here. So now I'm here, I'm sitting, I'm feeling this, I'm realizing, oh, my shirt is a bit, I've got a bit of weight, I don't like it. But first, the loving act is to accept it first, So I don't like it yet, but it's here. So to me, ignoring that would be, or try to, oh no, I don't look there. That would be the opposite of love. That would be indifference. But to say that, okay, I don't like it, but it's here, that for me is love. That's an act of love, to go into the present moment and say, okay, what is here right now? What is true for me? And then to accept it, to speak to it, to act on it. To me, that's basically the most meta level of active love I could find as I tuned into the whole topic. And for that, then, of course, in the context of my girlfriend, for instance, certain things are true, I might just desire right now. So speaking to that, acting on it, and hey, communicating that would be an act of love. Also, she's crying and I don't like it. Okay, accepting that, speaking to that, working on that, that's love. And one could now say, that's romantic love. But to me, it's okay. What do I see, feel here in this present moment? What is true? And how can I express that, work with that, act on that? And to me, as long as I do that, I'm always connected and a channel of love, how I would define it. So that's my 5.5 cents to that, and with that, I'm going back to whoever of you guys want to jam on that.
Thanks, Martin. My thoughts are going to the Triskele. So it's a three. I'll just read out the description here. So the Triskele is an ancient pre-Christian symbol of Europe. The symbol consists of three curved or joined segments spiraling from a common center. One version of the Triskele with 3 human legs has been in use in the coat of arms of the Isle of Man and the kingdoms of Naples. Another way to look at the Triskele is to have three circles coming together. So the circles aren't overlapping, and the circles aren't far from each other. So they're coming together to meet. And in the center there's a space. So, and that space is an opportunity for spirit love to arise, to express itself. So the point I'm making is that love, in that there's when people meet and respect each other's in sovereignty and individuality, there's an opportunity to express love without overlapping or feeling to be codependent. So when the three of us are getting together, we are tuning in and expressing love. We're allowing love to come up and express itself through our speech and what we're communicating. We're in our own sovereign circles. So yeah, I think love is also learning to be sovereign in oneself and identify and recognize the sovereignty in others. That's really a healthy love, in my opinion. You know, there's an unhealthy love, an attached love, which is trying to encompass somebody else or control or manipulate or be codependent. So that kind of love isn't really respectful of another individual or being. It doesn't need to be another human necessarily. It could be another being. So in that example of 3 circles, there could be 2 circles, 2 circles representing 2 beings. I took my sister's dog. I'm in Amsterdam at the moment. I took my sister's dog for a walk. And I bonded with the dog, and I recognized that it had its own presence, its own being. And so, because I had respect for that dog and its sovereignty, there was a bond there, a love came. It was an upswelling of love, and the dog recognizes my presence and being also, because I'm not trying to dominate it. It's not trying to dominate me. So I imagine a world where everyone had that knowledge or that understanding. It could be a very different, loving world where we recognize all beings as sovereign, including, as Lynn says, Mother Earth. And who knows, there may well be all kinds of other beings in the universe that we've yet to encounter. But that could well be another episode. So, yeah, I think being in nature, so there, being in nature, I think is easier to express love and recognize love around. I live in the countryside in the northwest of Ireland, surrounded by beautiful mountains and sea and animals. And once I tune in, I can see that love is everywhere. It's in the growth of the plants, and this time of year, the lambs are coming to have been born and growing calves. So being in the countryside, I can recognize that love that permeates everything. And I find when I'm in the city, it's not impossible, but it's more challenging. So because humans have created this somewhat artificial world, but it's still part of love at the same time. So it's still part of creation. Yeah, it's when I walk down the street, I can see the love of a mother and their children. I was in the barber the other day, and yesterday I was getting my hair cut. I could see there was Arabic singing going on, and there was great camaraderie and love between each of the barbers. They were singing part of the song each, and vibing off each other. So love is, and that expression was, it was contagious. The customers were getting into it as well. So I guess my point is, love is there if one tunes into it. Wholesome, expressive, sovereign love is there. once one tunes in. So I open the floor with a question, gentlemen. How has love expressed itself in your lives personally?
Thanks, Connor, for your question and your rich sharing there. As I was receiving your words, it was bringing to mind for me how, as you so eloquently spoke to, love is actually our kind of natural self, and love is inherent in all of life. And so you spoke to being in nature and how that can bring us into connection with that, because that's the natural vibration of nature, I would say, is balance and harmony and the kind of purity and benevolence of life, and in the same way, when we tune into to spirit, the Sufi poets and their focus on expressing love has been spoken to in this episode, and they very much tuned into the love for creator, the love for the divine, and that's another pathway where we can find our way back to perhaps our pure essence, beyond our identity, beyond the ways that we've developed to interact with others and engage with life. And so for me, the most beautiful experiences of the expression of love that I've experienced in my life have been when I've felt really connected to that part of myself, that pure essence of my being, and then in that place we become a source of love, and love can flow through us, and I can experience that in my devotion to the earth. I steward the land. I've had a deep relationship with trees all of my life. I care for the land, I care for trees, and in that space I experience this deep and profound sense of love and connection. And it also, in intimate relationship, I can experience love as a beautiful flow through me of something, some quality that I can transmit to the other, and experience how nourishing that is for the other person when I'm in a place of wholeness and in my connected to my pure nature. Then I can be simply this source of love for another person, which I'm sure we've all experienced. Receiving love is a very nourishing thing. So those are the expressions of love that arise in me in response to your question. Thanks, Connor.
To go to your question, Connor, that's an interesting topic. I couldn't name one thing, but Elaine actually spoke a bit already to that. To me, love, of course, I can feel love when my cat snuggles on my lap and goes like, just come on, just cuddle me, very innocent kind of love. Or when my girlfriend, really looks me deep into the eyes, and there's a big of connection, but there's a lot to do with connection, all of that. I also have felt love sitting in I think it was in a big company. I was working there. We were for lunch in Germany. You usually have a place for, you don't go into a restaurant, but the big companies, they have it's called a canteen. So they have a place where you can eat. So it's not very, a lot of working people, very stressed, usually sitting there eating. And one would say, oh, well, how is that love? But I sit there with friends, and there was this moment where there was a flower on the table, and I just looked at the flower, and in that moment I was like, okay, connected, and that was love. So very surprisingly, or I had a good tango, if I dance a tango, and it's really just flowing. That could be, I could name that as a good experience of love, but at the same time, I get struggle from life and I feel like shit and you're a loser and whatever, all that shit. And I'm fighting and no, try to look away and whatever. And then there comes a moment where I go like just accepting that, and like, okay, yeah, that's what it is, and yeah, you screwed up or whatever or not, and then the moment I can accept that and go like, yeah, okay, that's love to me. I'm connected again, and that's why I spoke before also to the thing with truth and what it means for me. But in the end, it's a connection, some form of connection to, and to me, and Connor spoke a bit about that. Oh, not a bit, a lot actually. It starts with a connection to myself. So as soon as I, in one way or another, am not connected to what, to me, in the good and the bad, so to speak. So it's hard to me to experience love because then I can't really connect to the world and everything in it. So for me, all the greatest, and there was, I remember many times, sometimes women involved, sometimes not. I remember as a child, I sat on an apple tree, and suddenly I was just had this feeling of, I couldn't even describe it. There was no thought. It was just me and the woods and everything, and that was a feeling of love because I was really connected. But I was really connected because I was first connected to myself and just, well, okay, I'm here, And the same happened on a beach, and I'm just in the state of, oh, that's me, I'm here, nothing, no good, no bad, just me fully. And suddenly I see a beautiful woman, I feel really connected. Was it the women that gave me the love, or was it because I was so connected? So, and that's why to me, looking back, even the quote unquote hard times, as long as or as soon as I could connect truly to what is, and starting with myself and going like, okay, that's how I am right now. I accept that. And I mean, not from the head, but truly from the heart, one could say. Those were the beautiful moments where I experienced love. The rest didn't really matter. The context didn't really matter. And that's why, like, to me, like Connor said, it starts with your own circle, so to speak, going like, okay, and the courage from the heart to accept that and be that, and then everything can be a great expression of love. That's what I got.
Thanks, Martin. I'll answer my own question by singing a song. This is a wonderful expression of love. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, and the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people walking by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yeah, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh. I love that song. I love singing. Singing has being around me for a long time. It's part of my culture. In my part of Western Ireland, in the Gaelic speaking Gaeltacht of Ireland, we have gatherings where people have an opportunity to sing, share songs, share music, poetry, and it usually happens in the pub, but it's a precursor to the pub. That's why Irish pubs are quite different to other bars around the world. It's an opportunity for a community to come together and express their sorrows, their love, and everything in between. So singing and song and music is part of my Gaelic Irish culture. It's rooted in us. Our culture has spread across the world through our love of music. So for me personally, song, my expression, expression of love comes through song, and it's something that's growing in me all the time. I'm very grateful for it. And that song I love to share because it's a beautiful expression of how wondrous life is and how love is everywhere around us. In the skies and the plants and babies crying. Yeah. Couples holding hands. Colors of the rainbow. It's a song of expansion, and love is about expansion. Growing more and more in love with oneself, not in an egoic sense, but as Martin, as you mentioned, the more that we can love ourselves, the more that, you didn't say this exactly, but the more love one can show for oneself, the more expression of love can be shared outwardly. So it starts with oneself. Yeah, being in that circle and touching other people's circles, so to speak, but not overlapping, not intruding. So yeah, and love is also a journey of learning and evolving, a continuous learning and implementing. So yeah, I may share a bit of poetry later, but we'll see. I'll open it up to you guys. How else is love expressed in your life? Has it been through song or through speech or through music or poetry or in any artistic sense? Over to you, Martin.
Well, as I said, now we're going again into specific expression of love. I just wanted to state that. So for me, as I spoke to, love is basically everywhere. But specific and now specific artistic, I think personally, I'm by trade, I have a German diploma as an engineer, so probably not the most artistic guy you would think of in an artistic sense. So what's art? That's another podcast. But usually, funny enough, I have a lot of contact with artists. I've been quite an active tango dancer and also martial artist, so no fighter, no UFC. Yeah, you can beat me up, but martial arts, I did a lot. Now I do fencing, and all that could be an artistic expression. So I have not yet found an artist who would not use his or her art to express his or himself, her or himself, and with that expression of self, that is an expression of love. Some seem to more go into the pain part of that and express that. Okay, others in the more funny, comedians or whatever part of that. But I think personally, everything we do can be, first of all, can be art, and secondly, even the art, what everyone is recognized as art, that in itself usually is an expression of love. And to me, in my personal life, of course, as I said, I dance tango argentino quite a lot, and well, that's actually cultural heritage or something right now. So that's an art. And in a tango, you spoke about the circle. To really dance a tango, you need first you have to connect. Usually you do it on the chest, but you can't go in one way or the other. You can't go like, oh no, I'm falling back, I'm not there myself, and then you can't dance, and you can also not force. So just this connection, and then basically what you do in tango, to dance a tango and to make an art out of it is to you have a woman or whatever, whoever, and you have this connection, and then you just dance what comes up. So there's music happening, there's people all around you, and all that brings, and you and she and what is here right now, basically you dance that. You just use to dance that, you use the quote unquote techniques of tango. So that's why it's a tango and not a polka or whatever. But that's basically what happens. And to me, that in my life, as often, and not always, but as often as I really could do that, that was a pure expression, first of all, of art, and second of all, of love. So that's my saying to that. Over to Lane.
Thanks, Martin. Yeah, as you mentioned, the individual expressions of love can be infinite, right? So it's more, as you guys have so beautifully spoke to, I think love starts with connection to self, connection to the oneness of everything, connection to life, and then wherever we place our attention, when we're located in that space in ourselves, can become the object or the expression of our love in any moment. So as you were asking that question, Connor, I thought to my relationship with my children and how deeply that has taken me into a place of connection and love inside of myself, and being a parent to my kids has been a space in my life that's been a really rich and deep expression of love. So that was the thing that was most present for me when you asked us that question again. So I'm wondering if any of you gentlemen have anything more to speak to this topic today. It's been a rich and very enjoyable conversation with you both. So any closing reflections or inspirations from anyone before we sign off with our viewers for this episode?
Personally, I say, so the last few reflections. So personally, I say we explore that topic in a good way, and maybe for the viewers, directly speaking to the viewers. So if you came to that podcast and probably the next few episodes and all that with I want an answer of what is love, you will not get that in that sense here. So that's not, as was beautiful seen in this episode. I think it's not that we will tell you, well, that's love, or that's this, or that's that. Yet I think the exploration, so what we are doing here is basically inviting you to to sit with us while we have a conversation and let our thoughts and feelings explore a topic. So it's a journey, journeyman and all that. So just for your viewers, thank you for joining us. And I think as a last reflection, us sitting here in public a little bit, which we are aware of, and personally can speak for myself, I'm not used to that, yet still connecting with these three circles Connors mentioned, and just see what happens. That's basically what we do here. We have a topic and then we see what happens. That in itself, because we try to have it as authentic as possible, that is an expression of love. And not only for us, or for myself, for instance, but also for you, the viewers. Because what you do with that, that's up to you, has to do, I would invite you to just, you have listened to this and just, let it be. So let it do its thing and reflect, and whatever comes up to you, maybe you have an insight or not, but that's totally up to you, and it should be up to you, because what you do with that, that's an expression of your love. And that would be my closing statements.
Thanks, Martin. I'd like to finish up with a beautiful, very short poem. It just speaks to what we've spoken about. Self-love is an ocean, and your heart is a vessel. Make it full, and any excess will spill over into the lives of the people you hold dear. But you must come first.
Thanks, Connor. Thanks, Martin, for your closing shares there. Yeah, that wrapped things up beautifully for today. So I'll just mention to our viewers that we'll be releasing our next episode in 6 weeks' time. And as always, we'll tune into what topic wants us to share around. So we look forward to sharing some more with you next time, and thank you for your attention and presence